All right, so we're going to take a walk through how to get started modeling in Inventor here today. And we're going to go ahead and start making some of the objects from the problem sheet. And we'll use this problem sheet. The problem sheet is going to be part of the assignment that you're going to work on here shortly, where you're going to pick 13 through 20. You'll pick 4 of those objects from 13 to 20 and model. But we're going to start with some basic, little simpler drawings to get started with here. And what we're going to look at is number 1. Let's always start with number 1 here so that we can have a really good understanding of what it is that we're looking at when we start talking about solid modeling. So I'm going to go ahead and just shrink up my screen here so that I can sort of isolate number 1 so I have a really good view of what I'm going to be working with and drawing, and then I can talk you through that process. So here's number 1. You want to go ahead and get yours open, that's fine. If not, just watch what we're going to do here, and we can go from that point. The next thing we need to do is we need to open up Inventor Professional 2021. Now to do this, you're going to come down to the bottom of your screen, your Windows Start, type in Inventor, or INV, and it'll come up, and you want to make sure you open Autodesk Inventor Professional 2021 English, okay? There is a viewer. You do not want to open the viewer. You want to open up Autodesk Inventor Professional 2021 English. This is the hero or splash page that'll pop up. Neat little image here, and then you get this screen. Now, if you have this is your first venture into Inventor, you're going to probably have 2 buttons that pop up here. One says Start Working and one says Start Learning. Okay? The tutorial page is the Start Learning. If you feel comfortable drawing, not necessary. If you did not have this video or you get confused in this video, you can always go back and start learning. I would recommend at this point, since we have the video, I'm walking you through it, hit Start Working. Alright, once you have gotten through that Start Working, your page could look like this. Your page may also look something like this, where you're creating a new file, okay? So either one is a great place to get started. If you do not have the Create New File menu here, we're going to go ahead and get that. You can go up to the File button, click on the File button, come down and click on the New button. And I want you to actually click on it, all right? If you actually go in to hit File and sit over top of New, you get this option. This is a quick option. I don't want you to get that. I don't want you to get the full option here, okay? Because I want to talk about some of these file structures. First thing is, we're up here in templates. We're working in the English US, okay? Make sure you're in English US or English here. If you are in metric or mold design, make sure you are not. Make sure that you are in English or English US. That will be fine. Now, as we come through here, if I select and hit this little pull down, hit English, slide over here, these are the file formats. Now, I can see very clearly that this says sheet metal IN, that stands for inches. This is standard inches, and then it's an IPT. That's an Inventor part file. That's important to understand. This is a part file. All parts can come together to create assembly files. And when you look at the little square comes together in the icon here to create an assembly. As you look at these are all inch standard assemblies, so it's mold, design, standard, and weldment. We are going to be working in standard when we get to that point. As you slide down here, these are the drawing files. So if we needed to make a multi-view drawing, we would use this button, the ANSI, INIDW. Look at the little icons. They look like it's a multi-view drawing of an assembly. So the icons can really help you in Inventor. What we'll do now is to start the new drawing, I should say new part. We're going to click on Standard INIPT and hit the button at the bottom, Create. What's Inventor's going to do, it's going to load all the toolbars that we need. It's going to put everything together. Inventor might take a few moments to do this for the first time. Inventor is a huge, huge program, okay? Okay, once Inventor does load, we need to start looking at the interface. Well, very similar to AutoCAD, you see at the top tools, this is our ribbon bar at the top. Different from AutoCAD, we have a model browser on the left-hand side. This is where we're going to see the part grow as we build the part. All right, we still have tabs at the top where we have file, all right, to do saving and things of that nature. Save as, always important. 3D model. Then we get into some other tabs at the top of the screen that we'll play around with as we need. So let's just then talk about over here. This is our view cube. This is how we're going to turn things and move things, and then we'll talk about these tools as well. So let's just start drawing first. And to start drawing, we need a sketch, because right now we are in what's called model space. We are going to go ahead and pull down where it says Start 2D Sketch. I'm going to come down and select Start 2D Sketch. And then we're going to find that what we have here on the screen are these planes. If you mouse over the edge of a plane, it will tell you this is the XY. This is the, at the bottom there, it's this down here, it will say the YZ. Slicing over to this one, this is the XZ plane, okay? There are also axes running through because everything here is happening on the XYZ axis and you have work planes, okay? So just to see how that works. To start a new sketch, we need to mouse over one of these planes and then select it. So I just selected on that particular plane. It doesn't really matter at this point in time which plane you truly select, because we're going to just start drawing an object. All right, so this is my sketch, 2D sketch interface. Notice that the toolbar at the top has changed for us. We now have drawing tools. Very similar again to AutoCAD. We have line, circle, arc, rectangle, all very familiar. Okay, all very familiar. All right, so here's the object we're going to end up making as a solid model. And what I want you guys to understand is when you start making solid models, everything functions on a closed loop, okay? Your drawing and your sketch must be a closed loop. So when I'm talking about a closed loop, what you need to do is you need to understand that if you were to draw this object, we could take and create, let's say this face right here. As I'm drawing on this, I could create this right side view, okay? Create this right side view, and then I can pull that right side view out so it becomes a solid. Very much like the Play-Doh Fun Factory, or like making Christmas cookies that extrude out of a decorative tipped tool, okay? This is what we are going to do. So we're going to go ahead and draw what would be that right side view over here in our sketch. So one of the first lines that we're going to go ahead and draw is going to be this 3-inch line. Then we'll come up 2 inches, back over 2, and then down 1, across 1. All right, you get this idea of what we're going to draw. All right, so let's jump back here into AutoCAD, or I'm sorry, into Inventor. We're going to grab this line tool, all right, and then I'm going to come, and I want this to just sit directly over top of the center of my sketch, all right. If I sit my cursor that has the line tool active over top of my sketch, it kind of locks there at the 0, 0, 0. Just get used to starting on that point, all right. Then I'm going to left click, you don't have to hold, and just start moving your mouse out here to the right. Okay? And you can see, very much like AutoCAD, we have the tooltips coming up. It's at 0 degrees. It's the length coming out here. And then we got this other funky little thing at the bottom. It looks like a line with some like a little image of like a boat being rowed or something like that. That is the horizontal constraint. We'll talk about constraints in just a second. But as we're pulling out, I'm going to go and type in 3 and hit enter. And I now have a 3-inch line coming across my screen. Now, you have the line tool still active, so we're just going to go up now, type in 2 and hit enter. And you notice that the scroll, your rollerball might be backwards, okay, than what normal AutoCAD is. Just kind of figure out what you need to do. Press in the rollerball, does the same thing in AutoCAD. You press in, move your mouse, you can pan, you can scan in and out with the rollerball. Keep drawing. We'll come back across. This is going to be, I believe this is going to be 2. And then we're going to come down 1. Come back across 1. And then come down 1 also. All right. Now, just like in AutoCAD, there are grips. All right. There are also what would be like an O snap or an object snap where things can lock into position. All right. I'm going to go ahead and delete some lines here. Let's just say as you were drawing, you X'd out or you finished your line command. That's all right. I'll hit escape twice to get out of any command I'm in. I'm going to go ahead and grab my line tool again, and I'm going to mouse over to the end of one of the lines I drew previously. Mouse over, I get a little green dot. That means that my object snap has grabbed the end of the line. I left click, and I just start drawing again. making sure that I'm locking on the positions here. That's my 180. There's my 2 inches coming down, 1 inch. And same thing, if I hit escape to finish the command and grab a new line, that's fine. You can keep going. It'll link up. There's my 1 and then my 1. Now, we have what is called a closed loop. Okay, beautiful closed loop. We can now extrude. So we are going to finish the sketch, the big green check at the top of the screen. Voila. And we come out. We are now in model space. From model space, what we're going to do is we're going to slide up to this button up here. This is the extrude button. Okay. I will select the extrude button, and Inventor automatically finds the only closed loop it can, and it asks you in this dialog box, what do you want us to do? Well, I want you to extrude. And we come down the dialog box. It found profile 1. It's working from sketch plane 1. The direction of the extrusion is coming in this direction. You can see the arrow. Now, if we want to swap that, you can change the direction. And on the screen, you see it goes in a different direction. If you want to go in both directions from that work surface, you can do that too. All right, but for now, we'll just come forward, click on that button, and the distance that I want to extrude this is going to be the distance pulling back on this part. So notice that I have this part here. I want to extrude this back 5 inches. All right, so back here in Inventor, I'm just going to type in 5. It gives me a little preview, and then I can hit OK. All right, on your screen, you see the Play-Doh Fun Factory. The Play-Doh Fun Factory does a very similar thing to Inventor. Think about this portion of the Play-Doh Fun Factory, the shape that you're extruding as your sketch, and then when it actually extrudes, you are making your solid model. You are pushing that solid model out in that shape, okay? Now, your shape is not, wiggly-biggly here like a piece of Play-Doh. It is a solid object. Okay, and that's what I want you to think about. We just extruded this out, kind of like the Play-Doh Fun Factory. We push this out in a shape. Now, with that idea, you have to have that closed loop, and then you can make it. Now, we have got right now a solid model, and as you can see, I'm spinning mine around pretty easily on my screen. The way that I'm doing this is I'm pressing down the F4 key on the keyboard. This is where solid modeling becomes a two-hand operation. You need to sit in your chair, 2 hands, and go at it. The other way you can move this around, you can also see this cube moving up here as I spin my part around, is you can grab a corner of the cube and you can move your mouse, holding down the left mouse and turn. That's one way to do it. The other thing you can do is select the predetermined points. If you grab a corner of this cube, that is an isometric view. If you grab a surface, you can see that these are named views. Now, technically, we would use this as our front view. This we would use as the top view, and then we would make this side our right side view. But notice the names are different, okay? That's only because we started sketching on different planes. The names are simply identifiers. When you lay your part out on a multi-view drawing, you pick the views, okay? You can also come down and use these navigation tools, all right? I would highly recommend, if you're going to use any of them, to use this. This is called the free orbit. You can select it with a left mouse, hold down the left mouse, and then move your mouse around to free orbit. That is the same tool that I was using by hitting the F4 key. It just saves you steps of starting and stopping the tool. So if I want to take this free orbited thing and take it back to a normal view, say isometric, just click on one of these corners of the object cube at the top, and it will take it to the view. Okay? All right, when we're ready to save, we're going to go to File. We're going to pull down to Save As, and then we need to find the location to save to. So you guys are going to save to the TechEd server space down here. Find your way into the server space just like we normally have. I'm going to go ahead into my desktop. And what I want you guys to do is we're going to create a new folder. Okay, we're going to right click. Now, if you are in a list mode like this, that's great. You can just right click in this space. Doesn't matter what view you're in. Hit new and then hit folder. There, I want you to create a new folder called Inventor. So it's going to keep your drawing separate. Then you're going to double click on that folder. And inside of here, you are going to go ahead and right click again. And you're going to create another folder, and this is going to be called First problem sheet. Okay? And then double click inside of that folder. Now, once you're inside this folder, you are now going to have to name your part. Now, this is very important that you understand the process of saving and you keep everything together. If you don't, coming from the building to remote is going to be what I would attune to a little nightmare. So, keep everything in the file folders together. So this is problem sheet. This is the object number 1. I'm going to not call this part 1 because every time you start a new part, they call it part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So specifically name this. I'm going to call this PS, capital PS for problem sheet, then the number 1. So this is PS1, and then I'm going to save it. I've now saved this thing to what would have been your TechEd server space in its own file folder.